Chris here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see by my setup, it's time to play Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. So it is the 27th, and I can say that I'm fairly certain I'm not going to finish my TBR. It was a massive TBR to begin with, and then I took like a week to read 2 Wheel of Time books that were available as audiobooks, and that really threw off my schedule because it takes a lot longer to get through those books, and they're giant. And then last week, I found out that my grandmother had passed away, so it kind of affected my ability to focus, and I was just kind of going where things were taking me, and it wasn't always taking me to reading. So, with that being said, I'm going to have to add a punishment to the board, but we're going to get to that. I want to mention the other stuff that I need to get out of the way before we dive into the game. The first being I'm taking part in 2 readathons in the month of February. The first is the Cat Lady Readathon, and this is going to be a month-long readathon. I'm going to have a separate TBR video for that. I don't know whether that or this will be posted, so just keep an eye on my channel. The other is Polarathon, and that is, I think, starting the 5th, and it's a week long. I'll put the dates up on the screen here. And I don't really have a set TBR for that because I don't know what I'm going to run a read. And there's not really prompts. You choose a team. Each team has its own specific prompt that gets you a bonus snowball. I'll link Jade's video in the cards above if you want to check out the announcement video. But there's not really prompts. So I'm just going to kind of wing it that week and see what strikes my fancy. And kind of take it that way because, like I said, there's only one prompt outside of trying to read Polar Fantasies, and they don't have to be Polar Fantasies this year, I don't think. I'm going to try to squeeze 1 or 2 in there, but I also like that there's a little bit more flexibility with reading books that are on my TBR as opposed to adding more. Since I like Polar Fantasy, but it's not something I have tons of, so I usually have to go out of my way to get it. But that is going to be the other readathon I do. The only other thing I have to mention is that I'm obviously doing Buzz Wordathon. The prompt for this month is Happy Words, so I'll be reading A Friendly Town That's Almost Always by the Ocean. I know literally nothing about this, but it looks like a really quick read, and after last month, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So we're going to give this a go, and I think friendly is a happy word. The other big mention is that I have my nonfiction of the month, and this month, being my birthday month, I'm going to read Mox. I have been putting this off because I was supposed to buddy read it with a friend, and my friend isn't much of a reader. It's not something she does particularly often, but she swore to me she was going to get to this book quickly because we both love John Moxley, and it has been over 2 years. And I keep waiting for her to read it. So I've decided in the month of February, I'm no longer waiting. I'm going to read this book and finally get to hear Mox's story in his own words, and she's just going to have to catch up with me. So I'm treating myself to a bit of John Moxley. I'm very, very excited about this book. I've heard fantastic things about it, and I have the audiobook, which is read to you by John himself. So there's no reason I won't get this one done in February, possibly February 1st. With that out of the way, it's time to deal with this sucker. I'm worried about what's going to come out of here because I want an easy month. So if I could have like a graphic novel or some really easy middle grade, that would be fantastic. Because I need a lighter month, you know? Let's see. Going yellow. What do we got here? This one's jumping out at me. Red. And green. And I managed to do that without dumping half the bucket on the floor. Let's see how this goes. So the first one is Verse by Sam Beck. That is indeed a graphic novel. Let me see if my library has the second volume or if it's out. It should be if it's in that jar. So my library has a digital copy of volume 2. I don't remember anything about volume 1, so I'll probably reread that first because I do own it. I can tell you it's not marked on Goodreads as read. So I may be starting this series. I'm going to have to double check because I can't imagine it ended up on my spreadsheet if I hadn't read it. So I don't know why it didn't end up getting marked on Goodreads. So I'm going to have to go figure that out, but I don't know anything about this because I literally have no recollection of reading it, even though I was pretty sure I had. So I'm going to be reading Verse Volume 2 and probably Volume 1 as well. So that should be fun. Well, here's slip number 2. Hopefully I remember this series. Lore Olympus. I remember this series. I literally just read Volume 2. I think I'm going to go see if I can get Volume 3. My library does indeed have Volume 3. I read Volume 2 this month and really enjoyed it, so I am totally down to continue Volume 3 in February. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling. I absolutely love the art style of this graphic novel, so I am super happy with this choice, especially considering, like I said, I read Volume 2 last month, so it's really cool that the jar is helping me facilitate continuing a series that I've recently hopped back into in February. And then the third pick is Maya and the Rising Dark by Rena Barron. This is a middle grade, so I'm good with this one too. So the second book in this series is Maya and the Return of the Godlings. And I do remember enough of this one that I don't need to start over, but I don't know that I can explain it, so I'm just going to read you the Goodreads description. 12-year-old Maya's search for her missing father puts her at the center of a battle between our world, the Orishas, and the mysterious and sinister Dark World. Maya is the only one in her Southside Chicago neighborhood who witnesses weird occurrences like were hyenas stalking the streets at night and a scary man made of shadows plaguing her dreams. Her friends try to find an explanation, perhaps a ghost uprising or a lunchroom experiment gone awry, but to Maya it sounds like something from one of her papa's stories or her favorite comics. When her papa goes missing, Maya is thrust into a world both strange and familiar as she uncovers the truth. Her father is the guardian of the veil between our world and the dark, where an army led by the Lord of Shadows, the man from Maya's nightmares, awaits. Maya herself is a godling, half Orisha and half human, and her neighborhood is a safe haven, but now that the veil is falling, the Lord of Shadows is determined to destroy the human world, and it's up to Maya to stop him. She just hopes she can do it in time to attend Comic-Con before the summer's over. So I knew it had a bit of mythology to it. I knew that her dad got taken to this other world and she had to, go and rescue him, but I never would have been able to explain the intricacies of that description from my memory, so I figured it was just better to read it to you. I remember really enjoying the dynamics in the first book of Maya and her friendship group. I liked learning about the kind of Lord of Shadows and this realm she found herself in, so I am absolutely excited to dive back into this series. My library does indeed have the next book in the series, so I'm totally down to read it, and it's perfect because I think it's a trilogy. I believe the third book is out, and I'm pretty sure the final book support group will have another round in March, so that could be perfect timing for reading a final book. So that was really, really nice to me. Like I said, Maya for now is going to go back into the jar because I won't have finished her and there is another book. Verse, the second book does not come out until August, so that won't go back in. And Lore Olympus will because it has 6 volumes, I want to say. So we'll put those there. I have grabbed the few papers from the floor, which means I can put the lid on my very nice TBR Jar of Doom this month and put this away until March because, well, I've picked my 3 series and they all seem like they're going to be really easy to get through. Thumbs up for that. Which brings me to this and my lovely little orange punishment slips. One of which I'm going to have to put on the board because there is no way I'm finishing my TBR. We will give this a quick shuffle. And then I will pick this one. Okay, we're placing the blue 11 with a punishment. And we'll go with this one. I'm actually not mad at that because right now there is a blue 11 already in my hand, meaning the only way for me to pull blue 11 is to pull that blue card again. And I am right now, as I'm sure you can hear, shuffling my phase 10 deck so there is at least a shot that it comes up again. I am looking for a 6. If I get the 6, my phase is completed and I just get to take a punishment off the board. So I would probably go with the yellow 8 because, well, there's only one of those in the deck too, but I don't know, maybe I won't go for the yellow 8. We'll see how I'm feeling at the time, and if I've already pulled one of them, probably going to go with the other because my reward for finishing my phase is either adding a reward or removing a punishment, and I'm definitely going to remove a punishment. So let's just slot this prompt. Not that I know what it was. back in here, and we'll mix these up real quick. I'm always worried when I do this that I'm going to drop them, and then I'm going to have to play however many pickup with these little scraps of paper. But I managed to get through it this time. So we have our prompts. I'm looking for a 6, and let's see if this game is going to be kind to me in my birthday month, unlike last month. Draw number 1. I got excited there for a minute, but it's a green 9. Let's see, the prompt for green 9 is air on the cover or in the title. So I think for this, I'm going to go with Aliana, Girl of Dragons, because you can see she's up in the air on this dragon. This is a prequel, I believe, to the Eva Evergreen series. Because I believe we meet Aliana in that series, and this comes, like, before it. So I really, really want to get to this. I've actually just pre-ordered the paperback of this because I have the rest of the series in paperback. So I will actually be getting that, I think, in February. I think it comes out in February. So I'm very, very excited to dive into this. I really, really like Eva Evergreen. I don't know what this one's about other than Aliana, but I'm very excited to be back in that world because I like the kind of magic that we see with Eva, and I'm assuming we'll see more of that with this, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be dragons, so that's quite exciting. Draw number 2 is a green 2. That was almost a reward. That would have been nice. Read once, need more. This is an easy one. I'm going to continue a series. So, December, November, late last year, I read the first volume of Cat and Gamer. So I think I'm going to read the second volume. I absolutely loved volume 1, so I want more. So I think I'll continue this series. This follows a woman who says no to everything at work because she just wants to go home and play video games. She doesn't really connect with her coworkers. And one day a kitten is found in the parking lot, and she says, sure, I'll take the cat, even though she knows nothing about cats. And then we see her using gaming strategies to learn how to take care of her cat. And it's just a really cute and cozy little manga. Like I said, I loved the first volume, so I definitely have read once and want more. So I will be reading Cat and Gamer Volume 2 in February. Draw number 3 is a blue 4. And the prompt for blue 4 is TBR game. So there's 2 ways I can do this. That's to play somebody else's TBR game, or I can watch somebody else's TBR game, somebody who has a TBR game, and pick one of their prompts. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I saw that Crystal from Bon Book Review had posted her TBR game today. I have not watched it yet. She plays Pick Pong. And I think that I will pick one of her prompts to put on my TBR. So I'm going to insert a video where I show you what prompt I have chosen from Crystal's TBR and what book I'm going to read. And hopefully she has a prompt this month that works with the stuff I like to read. Okay, future Chris here. And I have to essentially play Crystal's TBR game. And since I said I was going to pick one of her books, because I did realize afterwards, because she does the Readathon, there is a way to do it, but I'm going to play her TBR game because that's what I said I was going to do in my video. And I have her video pulled up here, and I know which prompt I'm going to play, so I'm going to show you the prompt I chose.
Trying for book number 4. Oh my god, I should have started a long time ago. Okay, so book number 4 is, I spoke too soon, Weapon on the cover, and it has a punishment. Okay, this cup.
So, I'm not doing a punishment because I can't play Pick Pong with punishments because I don't have another throw. So, I'm just going to use the prompt, and the prompt was Weapon on the cover, and I don't really feel like being on camera right now, so I'm just going to bring you through what I'm reading from this view. And that is, everyone in my family has killed someone. And as you can see, there are several weapons all over the cover. I think I heard about this on Instagram maybe, but the sequel, I don't really know much about it, but it says, Knives Out and Clue meet Agatha Christie and the Thursday Murder Club in this fiendishly clever blend of classic and modern murder mystery. So that sounds like it's going to be interesting. I know I like Clue, I know I like the Thursday Murder Club, and I believe I've enjoyed what I've read of Agatha Christie, so hopefully I will enjoy this, and it'll be kind of different to the other books I end up reading this month. So for my TBR game pick pong prompt of Weapon on the Cover, I will be reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. Journal number 4. Oh, no. It begins, people. This was supposed to... It's my birthday month. This was supposed to be nice to me this month. Journal number 4, part 2. Oh. Well. I suppose that's not awful. It just means I get to skip prompt 4 and I don't have to read a book for it. Cool. Draw number 5 is a yellow 10. The prompt for yellow 10 is finish a series. So for this, I'm going to read Journey's End by Christopher Holt. This is the 4th and final book in the Last Dog series. This follows Max, Rocky, and Gizmo, who are dogs. The POV is Max, and we follow them on their journey to try to find their humans. They wake up one day, all of the humans are gone, they don't know where they went, and they're really missing their human masters. So we basically see them set out and have to kind of piece together what's going on. There's been a lot of trials and tribulations they've had to face in their very long quest. I literally finished book 3 today. So I very much want to read book 4, and it's kind of nice being able to just kind of dive in and continue that series. So Journey's End will be my book for finish a series. Draw number 6 is a red 8. The prompt for red 8 is even page number. So this took me a hot minute because apparently all of my books ended odd page numbers. But I'm going to go with Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This ends on page 370, so even page number. I basically don't know anything about this other than that we're following a murder backwards, essentially. Steph from Steph Loves mentioned this book and made it sound so incredibly intriguing, so I ended up requesting it from the library. I haven't gotten to it yet, so I guess I'm getting to it in February. This is not the typical kind of book I read, but she made it sound so intriguing and just unput-downable that I wanted to give it a try. So we'll give this a go in February. I swear I looked at a good 10 books before I got to that one. Draw number 7. It's a yellow 4. The prompt for yellow 4 is paperback. I'm going to go with a friendly town that's almost always by the ocean since I have to read it anyways, and it is definitely a paperback, and it is on the shorter side because I'm trying to give myself as small a TBR in February as possible. Draw number 8 is a yellow 7. Large cast of characters. So for this one, I'm going to go with the Van de Beekers, Lost and Found, because it follows the 5 Van de Beeker siblings. So right there, you have a pretty decent cast of characters. And then you have parents, friends, they live in an apartment building, so we see their neighbors quite often. And there's just a lot of people that tend to be involved in this book. They also have pets that come into it. So I think this has a very, very large cast of characters. This is a contemporary middle grade series. It is my series to continue, one of them. And I've absolutely loved every book I read in this series. And I can't wait to dive into this one and find out what kind of shenanigans they get up to. It says, they're going to be helping a friend get ready for the New York City Marathon and making sure somebody in their community is getting enough to eat. So, this sounds interesting. Very, very excited to be able to put this on my TBR. I also wish you could see, because I have a bookcase over here. And there's a cat sitting on top of the books on the bookcase with boo-boo face because he's trapped in my room because I'm filming. He's not happy about it. Draw number 9. Whoo! Is a skip. Ooh, I like that. I like that. So I don't need a prompt for draw number 9. And draw number 10, hopefully the last of my regular draws, is a yellow 9. Well, I'm just dancing all around that punishment, aren't I? Yellow 9. Book with a rainbow on the cover. For this, I'm going to read This Is Our Rainbow, 16 stories of her, him, them, and us. It's a queer anthology for middle graders, featuring stories for every letter of the acronym, including realistic fantasy and sci-fi stories. It says a boy band fandom becomes a conduit to coming out. A former bully becomes a first kiss prospect. One non-binary kid searches for an inclusive athletic community after quitting gymnastics. Another non-binary kid who happens to be a pirate makes a wish that comes true, but not how they thought it would. A tween girl navigates a crush on her friend's mom. A young witch turns herself into a puppy to win over a new neighbor. A trans girl empowers her online bestie to come out. From wind-breathing dragons to first crushes, This Is Our Rainbow features story after story of joyful, proud LGBTQIA+ representation. And I recognize several of the authors that are listed that contributed, so I am very, very excited to read some stories from some authors I know I really enjoy, and maybe find some new voices to give me some more queer stories coming out of this. So that is going to be my book for Rainbow on the cover. So, now to deal with that pesky wild. We want a 1. And we got a 5. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. Please don't give me any more wild and don't let me hit any punishments. Wild 1, draw 1 is a 12. Green 12. Standalone. I'm going to read Mox. As far as I know, this is a standalone. Even if he writes a follow-up, it's not really a series. It's a nonfiction. It's an autobiography. I think this counts. I'm not sure I actually have any other standalones planned for this month. Standalones are tricky for me, so I think this is a good shout. And because standalones are tricky for me, I'm worried because there's one of these that says I can't read any books in a series. Which means if any of these were series books, I'd have to swap them out for standalones that fit the prompt. Which means I'm destined to fail because finish a series can't be finished with a standalone. Please, no punishments. Wild 1, draw 2. Why? It's my birthday month. You guys have punished me. I've had punishments 2 months in a row. It's my birthday month. You should be nice to me. Wild 1, draw 2, part 2 is a green 7. Kindle Unlimited. So for this, I'm going to read Shadow Child, which is the next book in the Witches of Palmetto Point series. This follows a woman named Charlie who has the ability to, I believe, see like ghosts and the dead. Her entire family has some sort of paranormal power. These are really spooky, so it's not a book I'm going to read at night, but it is one that I'm going to use for this prompt. It's a good time to continue the series since I believe I can only get it on Kindle Unlimited, so might as well use it for that prompt. Wild 1, draw 3 is a red 10. The prompt for red 10 is published in your birth month. So, I have a ton of books that are on my TBR, and I'm pretty sure I hit every single month but February. So then I had to dig into my physical TBR that wasn't like planned for February, and I found Toko Story. This is a graphic novel, manga, I don't know which it's classified as, in the manga. Seekers series, it follows Toko, and it was released according to Goodreads in February. I am very excited to have found something simple if I have to add a book to my TBR, so we're going to dive back into Toko's story. I don't know exactly when this takes place. Maybe, yeah. I think this is like a kind of prequel series to the main story. So we're going to go and see baby Toko. Wild 1, draw 4. Easy green 7. Well, that prompt didn't stay up long. Cozy Mystery. Easy. I'm going to read Witch and Famous by Angela M. Sanders. This is the third book in the Witch Way Library Mysteries. I think that's what it's called. And this follows a woman who in the first book is a whistleblower and believes that the people she blew the whistle on did something to the other whistleblower that, well, blew the whistle on them. And so she ends up running, thinking they're after her, and hiding in this small town where she works at a library and realizes she has magic. I've really, really enjoyed the first 2 books in the series, so I'm very, very excited to dive back into it. And what is hopefully my final draw for Wild number 1, draw number 5, is a 1. Where are my 6s? The prompt for Yellow 1 is Becca's Bookopoly. And this is why I did not do that earlier for TBR games. So I will insert footage of me playing Becca's Bookopoly. And keep in mind, I must play by her rules. Which means, if I roll a double, I have to roll again. And read another book. So, future Chris here. I have to do a roll for Becca's Bookopoly. We have a beanie with us today. Here is the board. I believe the last time I played, because I'm using the Spookopalathon edition, because that's the edition we got last year. Whoops. I was on Revenge, so we're going to start there, but first we got to roll, and if I get doubles, I have to roll again. And that worked well. Let's try that again and see if I can get my book flat so that you guys can actually see what I roll. Okay, 6, not doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lowest rated. Fantastic. Okay, so I had a look, and my lowest rated is Great Cattails. This actually works out really well because it is the Cat Lady Readathon this month, and, well, this is about cats. It's a delightful collection by some of the world's foremost authors that are all about cats. Here are some of the authors. And I don't know much more about it. I know it is on the older side. Yeah, copyright 89, so it is almost as old as I am. And this will be my book for Becca's Bookopoly on my TBR this month. It's been on a recent TBR, and I didn't get to it. So hopefully this time around I can actually read it. Oh, good. I love when I get to this and I still don't know what I'm reading. So that's 2 books I have, at the very least, that I don't know that I'm reading. Let's swap these out. Okay, so now it's time for Wild 2. And I'm terrified. I got another 5. I don't like this die. It seems predisposed to 5s. Wild 2, draw 1. Is a green 11. Set in another world. So, as much as I really don't want to do this, because of all of that, it's a book I do kind of need to get to, so we're going to go with Red Country, which is where I'm at in the First Law series, and this is the other world we're in. I think this is the second standalone, and it's a library book, and oh boy, does it have a bit of a funky smell. That's going to be fun to read. I don't know much about what this standalone follows, but we're going to give it a go. It says they burned her home, they stole her brother and sister, but vengeance is following. So this will take place in the same world as the First Law trilogy, and we're going to see how it goes. It's a series I needed to get back to. I have 3 books out from the library right now, so I guess I should put it on my TBR to make it a priority. Wild 2, draw 2, is a yellow 12. The further we get into this, the more scared I'm going to get, like, throw out your TBR and start over, or only standalones are allowed. Which, honestly, at this point, if I got only standalones, I might just try to quickly run you through some stuff and say screw it, because I can't finish my TBR, because I can't finish a series with a standalone. But yeah, we're going to go with yellow 12. I'm really, really scared. Dictionary.com. This should be fun. Nothing ever goes crazy with this prompt. It's always really easy to fulfill and stuff. I don't get things like salad, like fancy words for salad. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looking up the dictionary.com word of the day, and then I have to find a book that somehow relates to that word. And the word of the day is insouciant?
Insouciant.
Okay. And the meaning of insouciant is free from concern, worry, or anxiety, carefree or nonchalant. Okay, so I spent a very, very long time trying to figure out how I translate this into a book, because I don't know off the top of my head many books that are carefree, worry-free, anxiety-free. That's just not a very good story. Like, even in romance, there's worries, there's usually a hiccup. They're not like, they fall in love and live happily ever after and nothing bad happens and there's no, like, drama or anything. So I'm like, how do I find a book where there's no association with that? And then I went, okay, well, what about a book that would make me feel carefree and worry-free and anxiety-free? So I'm going with Calyx Adventures, because this is the last book that is out in the Seekers universe. So I would be finishing a series, as I don't think they ever released the third one, because this series, the Seekers series, follows Three Bears. And so I don't think they ever released the manga of Luce's story. So it would be catching up and finishing a series, and it is very, very short, and it would be reading a book by my favorite author and getting to revisit a character I haven't seen in a long time, because I believe I finished the last book in this series at the beginning of last year, which feels like a very, very long time ago, considering I read over 400 books between now and then. So I think I'm going to pick a book that will make me feel insouciant and go with Calyx Adventure. Wild 2, Draw 3. Phase completed. Skipping a prompt. Oh, now the choice. Which punishment do I take off, guys? Okay. Here's my logic. I'm going to take off this one, which could be wrong. But, if I were to pull this one, and I completed my TBR, this turns into a reward. Which means if I pull this one, I could still negate that by just reading everything that's left on my TBR, even though I don't think that's possible, but I could try. So we're going to remove this punishment. And for laughs and giggles, we're going to see what it was. If I had pulled this, I would have had to read a book over 700 pages. That one I could have done. That makes me more scared, because it means the scary ones still have a high potential of being on the board. Oh, no. Maybe I picked wrong. We're going to see. Okay, so yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm now, I don't have to read a book for that, because I had a skip. I have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have my phase. And now we're just hoping for anything but blue 11s and wilds. Wild 2, Draw 4 is a blue 3. The prompt for blue 3 is book about books. For this, I'm going to read Witch Upon a Star, which is the 4th book in the Which Way Librarian Mystery Series, and this has books in it as we find out that our main character has the ability to kind of receive nudges with books. Her magic involves books, so I'm assuming we're going to see books be involved in this story. I'm very, very excited to be continuing this series. I've really enjoyed the first 2 books, and now I get to read books 3 and 4 in February, so works for me. And for what is hopefully my final draw of February, Wild 2, Draw 5. A green 6. Thank you. Title has the same number of words or letters as my name. So, I have 4 letters in my name, so I either need to have a title that is 4 letters long or a book that is 4 words long. I'm going to go with a Cat Cafe Christmas. I had tried to get this before Christmas because cats, and Christmas, and it did not come in, and I got it this month and just did not get to it, so I think I'm going to use this. So I am not dragging this out into, like, March. I don't really know anything about this, but it is a romance, and there will be cats involved, and I believe it's set at Christmas time. And with the Cat Lady Readathon, it's a cat book, which is super helpful. So I'm going to read a Cat Cafe Christmas and kind of utilize combining my readathon with a book I need to get to anyways. I hadn't even thought that I could read this for the Cat Lady Readathon, so maybe I'll have to tweak my TBR a little bit. So there we go. Another interesting round. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 books this month, which is 7 more than I wanted. But I did get 3 skips, and I tried my best to make it books I was planning on getting to anyways, when at all possible. So we're going to see how February goes. Hopefully next month I can remove this sucker. I will be starting over with a fresh round and fresh phase, which I believe is a run of 8. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I think we're done for this month, and I can wrap this video up. So here's hoping that February is kind to me, because again, my birthday month, shortest month of the year, and I'm definitely a little bit slumpy. So keep your fingers crossed for me. But that's going to be all for this video. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me cat emojis in honor of the Cat Lady Readathon, or snowflake emojis in honor of Polarathon. You can pick. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!